You ever have one of those nights where you're just done? Not in a dramatic way, just quietly over it. You're lying there staring at the ceiling, phone on your chest, wondering, how did I end up here again? How did I let my sleep schedule flip upside down? Why do I feel stuck in the same cycle again? You think, okay, tomorrow I fix it. I'm done wasting time. And for a moment, it feels good. You picture this upgraded version of you, the one who wakes up early, stretches, eats fruit, or whatever. You make a little mental movie. It's you, but better, happier, less tired. So you make a plan. Maybe you open the Notes app, drink more water, work out 3 times a week, no phone after 10 p.m., read before bed, fix everything. And it feels solid, like this is the moment things change. But then the next morning comes and everything still feels the same. You snooze your alarm, your brain says, just one more scroll. You forget your goals, or you remember them, and suddenly they feel way harder than they did last night. That's what kept happening to me. I wasn't lazy, I wasn't unmotivated, I just didn't realize that change, real change, doesn't feel like a big moment. It feels like confusion and silence and discomfort. And yes, a whole lot of awkward, but nobody tells you that part. Nobody tells you that becoming a better version of yourself means doing a bunch of things that make you feel like an imposter at first. So if you've been stuck, if you've tried to change and gave up because it felt weird or too hard or just off, you're not broken. You're just at the beginning, and beginnings are supposed to be awkward. Let me walk you through it. These are the 5 steps I learned the hard way about what it actually takes to change. Nobody tells you this part. The part where doing the right thing feels wrong. You finally sit down to journal. Everyone online swears it's life-changing, Emma, and you just stare at the page like, okay, but now what? You try to sound deep. You write something like, I am becoming the best version of myself, and then you cringe hard. Or you try meditation. You sit still, light a candle, close your eyes, but instead of finding peace, your brain goes, I should do laundry. Hi, why did I say that weird thing in 2019? Do ants have teeth? It's chaos. Or you start eating healthy, you prep your little sad broccoli container, you bring it to work. And while your coworkers order burgers, you're there silently chewing your leafy sadness, pretending you're not low-key dying inside. This is what nobody tells you. The beginning of change doesn't feel powerful. It feels awkward. It feels lonely. It feels like pretending. You keep thinking, this shouldn't be this hard. This should feel better by now. Or even worse, maybe I'm just not built for this. But that feeling, that doubt, that's the cost of switching lanes. It's your brain saying, wait, this isn't what we usually do, because your brain loves routine, even if that routine sucks, even if it's making you miserable. It's familiar, and familiar feels safe. So the second you try to change even a little, your mind resists. Not because you're broken, but because you're uncomfortable. And here's the truth no one posts about. Uncomfortable doesn't mean wrong. It means new. That weird feeling in your chest, that doubt, that awkwardness, that's your brain stretching. That's progress. Serger, you're just in the part no one sees, the part before and after, the part where most people quit. But if you can sit in that awkwardness, even just for a little while, you'll move through it. And on the other side, is something that actually starts to feel real. Not perfect, not easy, but real. And yours. Let me tell you how I used to start over. Step 1, hate my life. Step 2, make a giant to-do list. Step 3, try to become a completely different person overnight. I'd write things like, wake up at 5, no sugar, work out every day, journal 3 pages, start a side hustle, call grandma, become emotionally stable, and for like one day I'd do half of it, and then I'd burn out, crash, and disappear into Netflix for 3 weeks. Why? Because I thought change had to be impressive. I thought if it wasn't intense, it wouldn't work. But the truth is, when you start too big, you don't just fail. You start to think you're the problem, like you can't change, but it's not you. It's your launch strategy. We're not designed to go from 0 to 100. We're designed to take one tiny manageable step and repeat it. So now I start small, like borderline embarrassing small. Drink 1 glass of water, write 1 sentence, do 1 push-up. Because here's what happens. You do something so tiny, your brain doesn't fight it. You don't need motivation. You don't need a perfect schedule. You just need a win, a small win, a controllable win, a win that says, hey, I did something today. And if you do that again tomorrow and the next day, it stacks. It builds momentum, and momentum greater than motivation every time. Think of it like this. You don't build a house in a day. You just lay 1 brick and then another and then another. You don't need to crush it today. You just need to not give up on it. So yeah, like start small, then go even smaller, because the smaller it is, the more likely you'll actually do it. And doing it is the whole point. Here's the part that almost made me quit. The cringe phase. I don't care what it is. The going to the gym, posting online, writing, starting a business. At the beginning, you're going to feel like a fraud. Like everyone's watching you, judging you, waiting for you to mess up. I remember the first time I posted something creative, it was a short video. I thought it was pretty good until I watched it back and immediately wanted to delete myself from the internet. My voice sounded weird. My pacing was off. My face looked like it had never experienced joy before. And then I uploaded it. Got 2 likes. One was my cousin. The other one was me on my backup account. That's when I realized being cringe is part of the deal. Nobody skips this part. Every artist, athlete, entrepreneur, creator, writer, they all had a phase where they sucked, where they hated their own work, where they wanted to hide under a rock every time they tried. But here's what matters. They kept going. You don't get to skip the part where you're bad at something. You just don't. But what you can do is give yourself permission to suck without quitting. Because when you keep showing up, even when it's awkward, you're building something deeper than skill. You're building resilience. The courage to say, I know this isn't perfect. I know I might look stupid, but I'm showing up anyway. And that's rare. That's real growth. Not flashy, not viral, but real. Eventually something shifts. You stop flinching at your own voice. You stop needing everything to be perfect. You start actually enjoying the process. But that only happens if you push through the awkward middle. So yeah, be cringe, be awkward, be new. That's how every good thing starts. And it's the only way you ever get to the other side. Okay, let's be honest. We don't quit most habits because they're hard. We quit because they're slightly annoying. Like, I didn't stop meditating because it was too spiritual. Yeah, I stopped because my mat was under a pile of laundry and my room was cold. I didn't stop journaling because I ran out of thoughts. I stopped because my pen was missing and I didn't feel like opening a new Google Doc. That's it. That's all it takes. 1 ounce of friction and poof, habit gone. So if you're wondering why you keep falling off, it's probably not your discipline, it's your setup. You want to work out. Don't just decide to be motivated. Yeah, pack the bag the night before, lay out your shoes. Make it easy to leave without thinking. You want to read more? Put the book where your phone usually sits, like literally replace the phone with it. You want to eat better? Stop buying trash. If it's not in the house, you can't eat it at midnight while watching conspiracy videos about pigeons. Basically, if you want something to happen more, make it easier. If you want something to happen less, make it annoying. I used to think I was lazy, but actually I was just bad at designing my environment. We think self-discipline is about pushing through, but the real pros, they don't rely on willpower every day. They set traps for their future selves, helpful ones. They build a system where the easiest thing to do is the right thing to do. No drama, no hero arc, Just low friction, boring, predictable design. And honestly, that's what saved me, because most days I don't wake up with perfect energy. Sorry, but I've made doing the good stuff easier than avoiding it. You don't need more willpower, you need fewer obstacles. So next time you feel stuck, don't ask what's wrong with me. Ask, how can I make this so easy I'd have to try to screw it up? Because when good habits become effortless, you don't need to fight anymore. You just flow. And that's when things actually stick. Okay, let's talk about streaks, because I used to be obsessed with them. I'd finally start a new habit. Journaling, workouts, waking up early, and every day I did it, I'd mark an X on my calendar, felt amazing, felt productive, felt unstoppable, and then one day I forgot, or I got busy, or life just lifed too hard, and suddenly that perfect row of X's had a hole in it. You know what I told myself? Welp, there goes the streak. I've ruined it. Might as well have quit. And then I'd go spiral on YouTube for 3 days straight. But here's what I finally realized. Streaks are cool, but they're just surface level motivation. They're about what you did. What really matters is who you're becoming. You didn't drink water for 3 days. You became someone who cares about your body. You wrote for 5 days. You became a writer. You showed up, even once. You became someone who doesn't stay stuck. Missing a day doesn't delete that. It doesn't unbecome you, because the point isn't to be perfect. It's to be consistent enough to shift who you are. This isn't school. You don't get an F for missing a class. You get to say, I'm still the kind of person who does this. Even if I missed a day, even if I mess up, even if I fall behind. Because showing up again after you fail, that's not weakness. That's identity building. You're casting votes for the type of person you want to be. And sure, some votes go the wrong way. That's life. But if enough of your votes say, I create, I care, I try again, then eventually, that's who you become. Not just someone who does a thing, but someone who is that thing. And that's when change actually sticks. Not because you forced it, but because it finally fits. Here's what nobody tells you. Change doesn't feel like a movie montage. There's no music swell, no big speech, no perfect morning with sunlight hitting your face just right. Real change feels awkward, boring, unremarkable. You show up, you do a tiny thing, you wonder if it matters, then you do it again and again. And one day you catch yourself smiling after a habit that used to feel impossible, standing up straighter, thinking a little clearer, reacting with a little more peace. And that's when it hits you. You didn't just change your habits, you changed you. Not overnight, not perfectly, but slowly, quietly, like water smoothing a rock. And if you're not there yet, if you're still in the messy middle, the part where you doubt yourself, where it feels like no one sees you trying, I see you. And I promise you, every awkward step counts. Every tiny effort matters. You're not behind. You're just early. So breathe. You don't need to become a whole new person tomorrow. You just need to take one small, quiet step today. Because nothing changes if nothing changes, but something beautiful can if you just keep going.